The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by the Elite Experience, Elite Shotguns, and is fueled by Fiocchi.
Paul?
Welcome to the Dead Pair Podcast, coming in hot with everything you want to hear about sporting clays.
Guy Fieri.
How are you, gentlemen? Thanks for having me.
Anthony Matarese Jr., how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well.
Welcome back, David Radulovich.
That's a net positive 30 minutes.
Brad Kidd.
Cory Kruse. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Now I feel awkward.
With your hosts, Jason
One more
Rambo
Red Bull for you.
and Sean Alley.
Woo, yeah!
Christmas.
Do it!
Often imitated but never duplicated. It's the Dead Pair Podcast. And now, it's showtime.
Welcome back, Mr. Large and in charge.
Back and in action, buddy. How you been?
Back and in. I'm doing all right. Hey, real quick, thank you to our sponsors, Elite Shotguns, Fiocchi USA, Bear Pal Atlas Traps, RE Ranger, Odo Pro Technologies, Rhino Chokes, Don Grant, Vero Beach Clay Shooting, White Flyer Targets, and Score Chaser. We could not do this without them, so big thank you to them. Mr. Alley, you have something that's been bothering you before we get started here.
I've got an axe to grind. I'm going to hop up on my soapbox. Everybody
Oh,
bear
boy.
with me, man. Now, you guys all know that if you listen to the show, we're all geared about getting new shooters into the sport and improving everybody's game that gets into the sport.
Yes.
Something that, I don't know if the word irritates me or just makes me mad, that I see an awful lot, or I should say maybe too often.
It just jerks your chain.
It grinds my gears. It just, I don't know what it is about people wanting to be a smartass on forums. As far as when a new guy gets on the forum, he's new to the sport, he's new to shooting, and he's asking what most of us would consider our basic questions. And we get it. You know,
Right.
what chokes should I shoot? Is the Browning 725 a good gun? What's your thoughts on that? Yes, we all know that this has been talked about and repeated ad nauseum.
There's constant. This is the problem. Is there's a constant barrage of new shooters.
Exactly.
So the first thing they do is they go to Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and they type in clay shooting, and then what comes up?
Well,
one of those forums.
One of
right?
those forums, and
then they ask a question, and they get mowed over.
right.
But this is why I've said 100 times, just stay off of that crap.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
Well,
Sean, listen, I'm totally right there with you, man. It's very irritating, and it's disheartening because people, for one, there's all these keyboard warriors out there, you know,
Yeah.
and they want to insult the guy, and then it gets to the point where the guy probably is like, man, why do I even want to do this?
Well, and that's my whole point. You know, again, the sport is small enough as it is, and if you talk to everybody in the sport, we want the sport to grow. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
a no-brainer. Well, guess what? How many people are going to join the sport if you're a total ass to them when they get on there to ask a basic question? I get it. It's funny. It's dumb or whatever you think your opinion is. We get that. Well, in the back of your mind, if you want to think that, that's fine. But hey, we all had to start somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be a lot better for the long-term longevity of the sport and to grow the sport in the right way. If you don't have something nice to say, just don't say it.
Agreed.
Seriously.
Agreed. And then another thing too, there's a lot of bad advice out there too.
Everybody's got that, and I can't control that, but I can control what I say to a new person that's shooting and say, well, that's a really dumb question, or that's been asked 7 million times. Who cares?
Right.
Don't say anything at all. If you don't have anything to contribute, just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. That's a good point. And I mean, I understand your frustration.
And now I'm off my soapbox. I'm done. I'm done.
I get it though, man. I understand your frustration.
People don't know the moody side, the grumpy side of Sean, but that just rubs me the wrong way, man. I'm sorry. It just does.
No, I totally agree with you, and it isn't right. And if you're one of those keyboard warriors, and you know you've got the answer to everything, great. But if you truly love the sport, why would you do that to a new guy? You know, I mean, like Sean said, if you can't say anything nice, just don't say anything at all. I kind of agree with that.
It makes no sense.
But all right, so on to greener pastures.
Yes, changing gears.
So little cool backstory here. So Cory Kruse, along with Rhino Chokes, has developed the new F-16 Pro Series, and we're going to have them all on here in just a moment to talk about that. Kind of interesting story, and I'm going to let Cory speak for that, but. Kind of neat how they came about this new shotgun.
Yeah, I wonder if it was one of those mad scientist projects or something.
Hey, speaking of shotguns, by the way, on Elite, I mean, we just mentioned the F-16 Blaser. Now, Elite's not a Blaser dealer, but they do have used shotguns, and I tell you what, man, They had an F3 on here just a little while ago. That was the most prettiest little F3 you've ever seen in your life.
Really?
Absolutely gorgeous shotgun. And I don't know if they got any F-16s on there right now or not. But we have to get a hold of Brian.
Well, I'm sure they got trades coming in and out all the time. So if you're ever looking for something, just get a hold of Brian or one of the guys down there,
or Aaron,
or Aaron, and just ask them. Say, look, I'm looking for this, and you know what? They'll keep their eyes open for you. I mean, seriously.
And everybody that's listening to this, that's emailed or texted or called me about the new Bear Pelt Dead Pair vest. I am now making this official public. Please contact David Radulovich and harass him as much as you possibly can. See if you can get that vest coming. Now, if you're expecting a return phone call, you probably got a better chance of seeing a reggae band at a Ku Klux Klan meeting. But, you know, at least harass him a little bit on social media and be like, David, where is this Bear Pelt vest at? So,
wow.
And by the way, that's cue to you, Todd. You know who I'm talking about. Hey, anyway, let's get on to our show. This is going to be a big one. This is going to be a good one, and I'm really interested in hearing all this.
All right, we got a rowdy bunch with us tonight. We've got Scott Dixon and Jody Johnson from Rhino, and a man that needs no introduction, Cory Kruse. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, guys. Thanks for having us back.
We're all good, man.
Cool.
Been a while.
Yes, it has. It has. Hope you guys are all being safe out there. I know a couple of you are on the road. Scott just got done parking the rig. Cory's driving. Jody, are you out in the field, or are you home, or where are you at?
No, we're driving.
Okay, so everybody's just traveling. Look at that, Jason. Me and you are stuck in this little room with each other.
Right. Easy.
All right.
I want to start off with Cory. Let's talk about this for a second. Why did you feel a need for this new F-16 design? Was it just something cool you wanted to do, or was there, you know, did you feel like there was a void in the marketplace for something like this? Tell us the story, Cory.
Well, it's kind of I'll try to make it as short as story as possible. But one of the reasons is how many production guns have you ever taken right out of the box that just shot great? For me, that rarely, hardly ever happens. Second thing was just through lessons, through my gun setup, and then through trying to get my wife set up with it over and under, I kind of saw this pattern, between what we ended up doing with the F-16 Pro Series. And I saw no matter what gun we did this setup on, it was always really nice. And whenever you start looking at the price point, the quality, the warranty that the F-16 has, I was like, why don't we just do this gun like this right out of the box? And I kind of put my foot in my mouth because I said that around Jody, and Jody put it all into effect. We got to talking with the team at Blaser, which is Josh McBrayer and Rachel Behringer, and with Jason Evans, the CEO's blessing, we moved forward on it. And Jody just kind of got it all orchestrated, and we got one produced, and it absolutely turned out like a dream. The gun that I actually used in that video was exactly what I was wanting it to do. There's little to no recoil as far as from the standard of what a 12 gauge should kick like. And it shoots just like my F3. The price point's right. The warranty's right. The service is right. The products that Rhino has to offer, all that compiled into one was just the perfect setup. And so your question about, how did this come about is just over time, I knew that the industry needed something like this for a gun to come right out of the box to shoot like that. And I think that the average gun buyer has no idea what a pro's gun shoots like. Well, if you want to know, go shoot one of those F-16 Pro Series and you'll know exactly, because right out of the box, there's hardly any muzzle flip. There's hardly any recoil. It's a night and day difference between any other production gun in the market. So that's kind of why we put it together.
Well, Cory, I watched that video you're talking about, and we'll put a link up on the show description here for everybody to go check that out. But, one of the things, and the reason for my question here is one of the things you were stressing in there was the recoil. You talked a lot about the balance. So if you could pick one, what was the most important of all the new features for you versus just like the box stock F-16?
It's a tough one, man. It's not a one size fits all answer. The porting is a huge difference just because of how it's designed, it counteracts the natural muzzle rise. So it's gonna drastically reduce your felt recoil. But then it's just kind of like putting a good team together. Whenever you have that alongside the weight and balance point of the gun, and then whenever you adjust the pitch angle and you put the kickies pad on it, all these different things together make it for what it really is. So depends on what you're doing, but for the F-16, the biggest noticeable difference was the porting. But then once we balanced the weight out, I mean, everything together as a team. But I mean, if I had to pick one, I think the porting was one of the most drastic differences.
Okay. Well, I know, people don't know the backstory. Of course, I was the first one of Sean and I to get my barrels ported. And, Cory, you and I had a lot of back and forth conversation through phone calls and texts, and you sending me videos and everything else. Because you remember, Cory, I was nervous as hell about porting my barrels, because once it's done, you can't go back, right? But I'm going to tell you,
it's a good time for an "I told you so," right?
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yep. You got me on that one, man. I'm telling you what.
Man. I mean, you can't deny slow motion video.
Right.
On a before and after, it speaks for itself. There, you don't need to sell it. You just need to see the video. And like, well, I wish my gun kicked like that.
Right.
And there you go.
Yep. Absolutely. I'll never own another gun again that's not perforated by Rhino.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, speaking of Rhino, Scott, I want to throw the mic over to you for a minute. So let's start with this. Now, this is a Blaser shotgun, and we understand Cory's a Blaser shooter, but how did you get involved with this whole thing? I mean, being a Rhino guy, what did you have as far as in your mind, or what was the vision when Cory approached you with this?
For us, it's just about being an industry leader. We feel that our barrel porting is the best it can be. The choke tubes, what we do with our choke tubes. So we were just honored that Blaser came to us asking us to get involved with this project with Cory. That's pretty much it. We didn't approach them; they approached us, and we were just very happy to oblige them and help out in any way we could. And it's worked out great.
Well, and obviously that speaks volumes for the expertise that you guys have in the gunsmithing era, the stuff that you do, the barrel porting, the chokes, and all that stuff. You guys have a really good understanding about what you're doing and what actually makes the guns work better. Where did you feel were some of the biggest improvements that you could make for the build itself of this new gun?
Like Cory said, I don't think, if there's one thing you can do to your gun, the first thing I tell you to do is to get it ported. There's just so many benefits. Besides felt recoil, it's transition time into your second shot. It's, the fatigue factor of, you guys are out there shooting 100 target, the first 60, 70 targets, you're probably faring very well with them, but it says last 30 when they're starting, you're starting to fatigue. And if we can get a gun that isn't beating you up, you can stay fresher longer. And, I believe that directly impacts your score.
Yeah, that's absolutely well said. I want to switch over to Jody because he's being too quiet, and it's time for him to poke the bear here. Jody, from a marketing standpoint, was this a no-brainer as far as something you felt was needed in the marketplace?
Well, we were, like Scott said, we were just honored with the fact that Blaser came to us and, said, hey, we want to really do something with Cory and put together something that Cory had dreamed about and worked really hard with Catherine. And, through all of our last couple of years, we've worked so hard with the youth industry and working with so many kids, trying to help them fit guns and, help them shoot better and do everything that we possibly could. So when Josh came to me and said, hey, we got to do something, I was just absolutely honored. I mean, I couldn't have wanted to be in a better place in life. I mean, it was perfect timing for Rhino. The porting deal is doing really well. The choke sales are doing really well. And our gun fitting thing is doing really well. But to be able to come out with a major manufacturer and offer a gun with Cory's name on it in the Pro Series, it was just, kind of a no-brainer for sure.
If you don't mind, Jody, what is the MSRP on this F-16 Pro Series?
Blaser's MSRP is $6,200.
Wow, that's not bad.
That's very reasonable, actually.
Yeah, that's very affordable. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's been well received. Our projected, not ours, Blaser's projected sales in the beginning, we exceeded those in less than 6 weeks, and it's been kind of overwhelming. We got real close to running out of some inventory. We're getting it all back in here, and everybody's getting back on track. But Scott and Matt and Josh and everybody's been working really hard to keep these guns going out the door, and the guys are selling them, and everybody's calling about them, and it's a good buzz for sure.
Wow, that's awesome.
Hey, Scott, if I want to circle back with you for a second here, do you mind running through some of the specs on this gun for us? Let's start with the weight. What's the overall weight of this gun?
I believe it's sitting right about 9 pounds.
Okay.
8.5, 9 pounds.
Okay, and then what about the barrel weight? Do you know that offhand by chance?
I believe there is 2.25 or 2.5 ounces on the barrel.
Okay, and then what kind of action does this gun use?
Cory may be able to answer some of these specs a little better than I can.
I mean, they kind of did it their own. I mean, yeah, it's a sleek, slender, low-profile receiver. I mean, it kind of resembles somewhat of a boss action. I don't know what you'd actually call it. To me, it's trademarked as a Blaser action. So it's engineering and just, I don't know what you'd call it. You have to ask them. I've just always called it a Blaser action.
Okay.
I don't know how wrong or illiterate that sounds, but I don't really care either because it's one of a kind.
So does it have the same striker fire trigger as the F3?
I don't believe it's the exact same, but it's very similar.
Okay, and then what about the forcing cones? You guys know what length on the forcing cones are, or what does it come with?
Don't know what the actual length of them are. I know it's chrome line barrels, and they're pretty awesome.
Okay, no worries.
Look, here's the bottom line. You want to ask about what the specs are. I have no idea. You have to look yourself. All I know is it works.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just wanted to kind of get some nitty gritty out there. Obviously, all of our listeners can go do some research and do some homework themselves. I was just trying to get a few of these geeky questions out of the way, just to kind of satisfy some of the questions that I'm sure that we're going to get. Cory, you put your name on it, so we know you believe in it. That being said, we know you work a lot with the youth shooters. Was this something that you felt was an easy go-to for them as well?
Well, it'd be an easy all-around, whether it's for a grown man, a kid, or a lady shooter. It's going to work for everybody because the gun doesn't kick, and you can always adjust the length of pull. It comes with an adjustable comb, so you can always easily field fit it to yourself, and all you really have left to do is shape the grip for it to be an all-out, fully customized competition gun. So, I mean, it does satisfy that youth demographic. It does satisfy the lady shooter demographic, and I love shooting it as well. So, I mean, I can't really say that it's geared towards one specifically, but it works for all. And it's kind of hard to beat whenever you can just get it right out of the box, already set up and ready to roll with a warranty.
Yeah, that definitely cuts a lot of corners out of the thing and just makes it streamlined and easy for somebody to pick one up and go shoot.
Yeah, it's a headache to get the gun and then have to go and mail it off to do this, that, and the other. You're all set and ready to go right out of the box.
I think one of the things that's really impressive is the fact that Blaser believed in the porting and, just came out and said, yeah, we want to come out of the box with a gun that has the porting in it. And we know what it does. And so, like yourself, Jason, when you said you were reluctant in the beginning, well, now, you can buy a gun that's on the market that's got everything that you want.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive for sure. I mean, that's, we've discussed this before in previous episodes, but, back in the day, I had a Browning that was factory ported, and it's absolutely nothing like what the Rhino porting does.
Amen.
I mean, I honestly think all it did, but the Browning porting, and no offense to Browning, I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but I really don't see any of the benefit from that gun, or at least from that barrel porting.
No.
And what they did, other than it was loud.
Yeah.
But the Rhino porting, the way you guys do it, I mean, the angle of the ports, the amount of ports, everything just works, and there's zero muzzle rise. I mean, look, I'll be the first. I could take a 1,300 foot per second shell, 1 ounce. I could put the butt of the gun to my forehead and pull the trigger and not feel anything. My gun does not.
I'd love to see that.
You know what, Corey?
I'll get a video for you, Corey.
We will get that video out.
See, Scott, I told you.
There is I believe, Corey, is there not a video of you shooting that gun one-handed?
Yes.
Yeah, there's
Corey
quite a
sent
few
me
of them.
that. Yes.
Well, that's the one he sent us, and that's what convinced me to get mine ported after Jason got his ported. And, of course, we did that video at the U.S. Open, or at the Nationals 2 years ago. And, I mean, we went out there and shot the gun before. We let you guys do the porting work and did the whole video on that. And then we went out and shot it again. And you can noticeably see that barrel didn't rise up anywhere near what it did when it was unported.
Well,
and I'm telling you what, I'm a believer in the porting.
We shot the K-Cup with Henning Matthew.
Yep.
And he took his Kolar over to the Rhino trailer that day.
Yeah, after he saw me and Jason shooting. Yeah,
and got
absolutely.
his ported. I mean, the guy was convinced.
Yeah, that's testimony in and of itself. So,
listen, Corey, I'm going to get you back on the hook here. This is really cool, and this might be the coolest thing about this new F-16 Pro Series. A portion of every one of these guns sold goes to the Warrior Health Foundation. Can you tell us about that, Corey?
Yeah, man, it's super cool. And before I answer, you wonder, like, all right, well, that portion, it's got my name on it. We're not doing this for a bunch of profit. I'm not making anything off this. This is basically just a tipping your hat to the industry here, guys. We want to give you something that is a solid gun. It's as advertised. It works. Blaser took the risk to do it, and I think that they hit a home run with it, to trust us that it does work and that people would love it. And we already know from our first week of sales that it is a home run. Now, the cool part, like you're talking about with what is the Warrior Health Foundation, well, I think I might have mentioned this on a podcast with you, a couple months back, but it's a charity that my wife and I hold close to our hearts. One of my best friends and kind of like a brother from another mother, his name's Will Chesney. He's got a really cool book out called No Ordinary Dog. Will was the dog handler on the Osama bin Laden raid, and he lived with us for a short while, and I actually got to see Will and really just fighting to get his life back. He went from SEAL Team 6, and if you read the book, you can find out his whole story. It's really, really neat. And again, the book's name is No Ordinary Dog. Well, what happened was whenever Will was on his healing journey, he was out in actually in Florida at a event, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it was for the Danny Dietz Memorial or a Mike Murphy Memorial. Well, anyway, he met another Team 6 guy named Sean Rosario. And Sean had this organization called the Warrior Health Foundation. They were looking to raise money. Will connected us with Sean, and that's where we really got to know what it is and what they do. So what they actually do, they take a holistic approach to Special Forces guys healing. And it's not so much that these guys that are physically wounded by a missing limb or anything. Think of just the training that these guys go through. We have thousands and thousands of 12-gauge rounds going off near our face. Well, they've got Carl G rockets, they've got breech blasts, they've got combat, they've got mortars, all this sort of stuff. So with all those blasts, what they've coined is a term called operator syndrome. And every time that blast passes through your body, and another way to describe that is if you've seen one of those social media videos where mortar cannon fires around and it just shakes the dust on the ground,
like the
looks like a bomb goes off, that percussion goes off. Well, every time that blast wave passes through your body, it does some damage to your pituitary gland that regulates all kinds of vitamins and hormone levels in your blood. So what the Warrior Health Foundation does, back to that, is they'll take a simple, I won't say simple, they'll take a full blood panel and find out where all of your levels are, and then they'll mitigate those levels to a tighter threshold than what the VA does.
Oh, wow.
It's really impressive, and it's got a 99% success rate. Over 85% of every dollar raised goes back to the guys. And so that's really impressive as well. You can find out all you want to know on the internet at warriorhealthfoundation.org if you really want to know more about it. It's nationwide and it applies only to Special Forces veterans. And it's, some of the first things that the guys have noticed is that they actually figured out, man, I don't think I've actually slept in 10 years. So whenever they get all of their testosterone levels, their vitamin levels together, everything together, their body can naturally heal, and not throwing any dirt on any charity whatsoever. But taking a veteran hunting sometimes isn't going to fix the problems.
Right.
But we all know how substance abuse can always kind of lead to making bad decisions and whatnot. Well, a lot of guys stop drinking, they stop whatever it is that they're doing, because they actually start feeling good. They don't need to substitute something for it. So it's a really special organization. We've seen it turn lives around for very special and close friends of ours, and we're fully supportive of them. And so whenever we put the Pro Series F-16 together, I figured, well, hey, let's just throw a cherry on top, and can we make a portion of the proceeds go to benefit them? They're super special to me, and if I've got my name tied to something, I want it to help out something special to me, and that's where we wound up.
That is just flat awesome.
That's fantastic, Cory. Good on you.
Yeah,
man.
It's pretty cool, man, and I was super excited that everybody kind of motioned to move forward with that, and it's super impressive, and I can't wait to see how much money we raise with it.
That's incredible.
Very
that really
cool.
is.
Very cool.
Scott or Jody, are we missing anything about this gun that we haven't brought up yet?
I don't think so. Like I said, we were just honored that Blaser came to us and asked us to be involved with it. And, it happened relatively quickly for us. We first started communicating with Josh back at the Nationals in October. And by February, we had prototypes out there, and, the rest is history, as they say.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I want to give a little shout out, special thanks to the whole entire group over at Blaser for giving Rhino an opportunity and believing in me and believing in Scott and Matt and all of our family, and just knowing that we're working hard every day to put a product out there that's going to help everybody in this industry. And then, we developed what we wanted, and it was a one-stop shop. Come by it one time and you got it, and you don't have to worry about it. You got a gun for life.
That's awesome. So obviously, no doubt, if they approached you again to do something in the future, no doubt you guys would jump at the chance, wouldn't you?
Be hard to turn down.
Awesome.
Yeah, one thing we didn't really touch on, it does come stock with some Rhino Gen 1 chokes. So if you've seen any of those Rhino smoke balls, we'll go get you a taste of them, because it makes a world of difference.
Nice. So you're getting the porting, you're getting the choke, you guys are doing the kickies pad on the back,
and the weights.
So man, that's pretty much the whole package from Rhino,
and
right?
The porting, right? Did you say
yeah,
that?
the porting. Yep, and the porting.
Yeah, pitch, pad, porting, weight. I miss anything? And chokes.
Adjustable comb, right?
And the adjustable comb, and a warranty, and some of the best service in the country.
No doubt.
That's another thing that was interesting to me, and with another brand, not too long ago, I brought a buddy's gun in to get serviced, and it was just to kind of rebuild different parts of the action. The gun was worn out, and I went to pick it up. It was like $700. I was like, "What? It's not under warranty?" No, but this is a high-grade gun. Sorry, that's not the way it works over here. I'm like, man, total hat tip to Blaser, because if that was my F3 or anybody else's F3, that would have been free.
Wow.
That's pretty special stuff right there that goes way overlooked whenever you give a lot of use to a gun.
Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome. That's
very impressive. Jody and Scott, we know we're going to be seeing you soon up here in Ohio for, I think the SC2P will be your first shoot up here. Cory, are we going to see you up here for anything this year?
Hopefully the North Central Regional. We got Northbrook.
Jody and Scott, Sean's got this new Kolar coming. He needs the barrels, needs some extra holes in it, and some chokes. So
I haven't reached out to him yet about that.
I'm sure he'll be looking you guys up.
I heard you made the switch, so I guess Jason won.
He finally beat me enough in the head where I'm like, all right, fine.
Hell, we live in America.
I'm stubborn.
We shoot American products, that's all.
Okay. All right. No, I will be hitting you guys up at some point down the road once I get it. I don't have it yet, but I'll definitely be trying to connect with you guys. You guys, you said SCTP, is that the first time you're going to bring the truck up?
Yeah, that's the first we'll be up there. I think we're going to get in there like the 7th. I think the 7th or 8th of July, I think it'll be, and we'll be there for a week. Yeah.
Gotcha. Maybe I'll just wait until then to hook up with you. That way I don't have to worry about shipping it out or anything. I've got a lot of learning to do.
Well, we have, Rhino has the appointment process where, you can call Amber and set up an appointment, and as long as your gun the barrel is there the day before your appointment, we'll ship it back within 3 days.
Well, that's true. I forgot about that because you guys are just flat out awesome.
Yes. And so everybody listening, this isn't idle chit chat. This is what they do. Rhino Chokes is number one. They're going to be at the SCTP Nationals at the Cardinal Center in Marengo, Ohio. And that is help me out here, Jody. Is that the 7th through the 17th? Is that correct?
That is, yes.
Okay. And then if you can't make it there and you want to see the effects of this great barrel porting, you can send it to Rhino. As long as the barrel is there the day before the appointment, you get it back within 3 days. I mean, how awesome is that? So, this is the customer service. This is what we talk about with our sponsors and why we believe in them, why we use their products.
Yeah, so, Rhino always goes the extra mile, and they've never let us down. We love them to death. So thank you guys, really.
And look, if some nutball named Cory Kruse from down in Texas uses them, they're good stuff, right?
Hey, by the way, guys, that gun will be at the SCTP Nationals for demos. So come by come by the Blaser store and pick out the gun and go demo it. It'd be a great time to try it.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Well, see, that's how we need to entice Cory to get up here. Is just tell him he's got to put his signature on every F-16 sold at SCTP.
It'd have to be sometime during hunting season, and that way you can.
Well, and two, you can always check with your local Blaser dealer, see if they have any inventory, and if they don't, ask them when they would, because I know right now they're just trying to get caught up on inventory. The guns actually have been selling like hotcakes, and so you can always ask your local dealer when they'll be getting some in, and we can always get another line of communication to help that out as well.
Awesome.
One more thing, guys. I didn't just mean that there's going to be one demo at SCTP. Anywhere you go, pretty much, you can check it out with Blaser. They'll tell you where their demos are. And, people need to go shoot them. Cory and Travis spent, I don't know how many days at the San Antonio shootout demoing the gun to lots of kids, and it was a huge success. So come try the gun.
That is awesome. Well, guys, I think we've kind of covered this pretty good. Anything else, you guys, last-minute chance to throw in some more final words here?
Thanks for having us back, fellas.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate it. Like I said, it was an honor for us to be able to join Cory and Blaser on this venture. And, it's probably even a little more than we all thought it was going to be. It's a super sweet gun. And you have to shoot this thing. It's hard to put into words how well that gun works.
Very cool.
Like to thank to all you guys. Appreciate everybody's help, and thank the Dead Pair Podcast for having us on. We appreciate it.
Oh, it's our honor for sure.
Always our pleasure, guys. Really.
And Scott, just make sure when you guys come up here to SCTP, we'll grab Matt and Sean. And I think where we left off last year was that Jody's buying dinner this year, right?
Yeah, that was it. I'm pretty sure that was it.
Yeah, but Jody is buying dinner, but he uses the Rhino card.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Gotcha.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you again, guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll put some links in our show description. Anybody wants to get a hold of you. Of course, Rhino is always in our show description. Real easy to get a hold of them. And then I'm going to put a link to the video that Cory did for the F-16 Pro Series. And Cory, if you don't mind, I'll throw your info in there for coaching sessions. I know you're somewhat available for that.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
All right, guys, and I'm going to end it with a little tease to be looking for some other new products from Rhino.
Now, Scott, hold on. We got a show coming up for that. Don't let too much out of the bag.
He's excited.
Yes, very excited. Thanks again, guys. We appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right,
Thank
see you
y'all
guys.
very much. Have a great evening.
Yep.
What do you think, Sean? F-16 Pro Series.
That is a really neat project, and what an honor for the guys at Rhino to be involved with that, with Blaser. I mean, it speaks volumes for the quality of their products and what they do.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like I said, it was a no-brainer for them. I mean...
Well, I mean, it's a streamlined approach to getting everything you want in a gun. It's like, okay, I'm going to go buy a gun, but I'm going to go buy my own kickies pad. I want to do barrel porting. I want to do chokes. I want to do this. I want to do that. And the guys at Rhino can do all that. But here it is, out of the box, done for you. No wasted time. Bring it out and shoot it.
Well, you know what tugged on my heartstrings was a portion of that goes to the Warrior Health Foundation.
Absolutely.
What a great cause.
Yep.
And, you know, Cory's like, I don't want any money from this. Just give it to them.
Well, I mean, we all know Cory's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Sean, every week we talk about taking somebody new shooting, take them to a tournament. Let's kind of wrap things up here with the way you started. Let's not be a total...
Jackanini?
Jackanini? Is that a word? That's a new word.
It could be.
It's part of the alley...
Yeah, part of the...
Alley font?
The Shawnees.
Okay. All right, we'll go with that. Let's seriously, though, let's take that into consideration. And then, here's yet another firearm for an entry-level shooter that's got all the bells and whistles that you could want. How awesome, right? And
it doesn't break the bank. You're not dropping 10, 15 grand.
Right.
Like you are on some of the other guns. And this gun is decked out. It's got, everything you need out of the box to go shooting and be comfortable while you're shooting.
Full of Rhino products.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go again, one of our sponsors, along with Elite Shotguns.
Right.
Fiocchi USA, hey, stuff some good Fiocchi in that, stuff some little rhinos in that new F-16, right?
It'll shred some targets.
Absolutely. And I hope you're mounting that gun to your Bear Pal vest.
That's right. Then they are.
And the target... Well, if it's consistent,
it's going to be a white flyer.
Well, no, but I'm saying if it's consistent,
then it's going to be thrown by an Atlas.
It's going to be thrown by an Atlas trap, American-made Atlas traps.
Right.
Of course, you're seeing that target really, really clear through some Ranger React lenses.
Yep.
And then, of course, when that gun goes off, your hearing's going to be protected
by Otapro.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you're probably shooting at Vero Beach.
Well, you hope you are, especially if it's February in Ohio, for God's sake.
Right?
You want to be at Vero Beach.
and I bet you signed up for that shoot.
On Score Chaser.
Well,
everybody does.
And on the way to the tournament and the night before, I bet you got your mind right.
With Don Grant.
Sean Elliott, are we missing
It's kind of the whole package.
Our sponsors have completely put together the package of everything you need.
It's the Sporting Clays enchilada.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And let's not forget, if you need help, our resident pro,
Rad Chad,
Mr. Rad Chad himself, will get your mechanics right. Right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this. You're going to go to Elite Shotguns and buy your gun. You're going to go to Fiocchi and get good ammunition.
Right.
You're going to go to Bear Pelt and get a good, high-quality vest customized for you.
Absolutely.
Right? You're going to practice through your Atlas traps because it's going to throw a good, consistent target every time, right?
That's right.
You're going to look at that target clearly with an RE Ranger.
Yep.
You're going to have your hearing protected with Odo Pro.
Yep.
Of course, you've got a Rhino Chokes outfitted gun with barrel porting, kickies, pad, chokes, right? They got several, whether it's the Gen 1, Gen 2, or the Elite Series like we use. Of course, you're throwing white flyer. You're going to be exploding some white flyer targets.
And they're going to be happy to let you do it.
You're signing up. I mean, dude, this is the whole package.
It is the whole enchilada.
And
I keep telling you, it's the enchilada.
And if you're on tilt like me, you got Don Grant to get you back up right.
Yeah, that'll get you out of that funk. That's for sure.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, this is awesome, dude. I wish we would have had this when you and I were coming up.
Well, and this is the main reason we did this. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. And that's what makes
me angry when, again, going back to the beginning, I don't like seeing people berate new shooters. I don't like seeing people beat up on the new shooters because we were all there at one point. And somebody held our hands. Somebody showed us the ropes. So be kind to these guys. It'll help grow the sport. It's also going to give the sport a better image. So enough. Again, I'm off my soapbox.
Okay, well, let's end on a positive note. So when that new guy comes along, instead of going, oh my God, we've covered this, and
if you don't have something nice to say, just don't say it.
Just zip it.
Just zip it.
Or if you don't have something nice to say, try to be like, what do they call that?
Positive?
Well, yeah, but try to be
supportive.
That's not the word I'm looking for. I'll think about it on the next episode. Until then, Sean Alley.
We'll see y'all back here on the Dead Pair Podcast.
We'll see you next time on the Dead Pair Podcast.
The Dead Pair. The Dead Pair Podcast is brought to you by Elite Shotguns and Vero Beach Clay Shooting and is fueled by Fiocchi USA. The Dead Pair theme song was written, arranged, and produced by Toby Tomplay. Special thanks to the following sponsors: Bear Pelt, Rhino, Otopro, Dawn Grant, Atlas Trap Company, RE Ranger, and White Flyer Targets.